Happy
Happy
monstering!
monstering.
And welcome to another slightly technical difficulty filled episode of My Singing Monsters Live, your one-stop shop for everything to do with My Singing Monsters. Apologies, we had a little bit of a rocky start there at the beginning, but you know what? Nothing is going to stop us from celebrating this episode 90 of My Singing Monsters Live. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are your hosts, Monster Handler Matt, and of course, here we have Monster Handler Eric.
Hello.
Hello there. How's it going? Something about you looks a little different
Oh yeah? I'm
today.
wearing a
I
hat.
don't know if, yeah, I don't know. It must be the hat.
Yeah.
Although I'm getting sort of a different sort of vibe from you. You know what it must be? It must be the fact that we are a little understaffed today. So we've got three monster handlers doing the work of four. And you are both our co-host today and our mechanical supervisor. Is that correct?
That's right. But as our viewers could see with what I am dealing with, it would be a lot less fun to watch me being distracted. So I've picked an avatar to represent
Oh
myself
yes.
today.
Well, it's a perfectly suitable avatar. That's human expert Eric, if I'm not mistaken. And you know, I feel a special kinship with human expert Eric.
Oh,
I don't know what
interesting.
it is. Just the same sort of vibe.
Sure.
Before we get too much further or off track, we've got a couple of exciting housekeeping things that we need to talk about today. The first of which, of course, we do every single episode of My Singing Monsters Live, and this episode is no different. And that is, of course, the giveaway. And how does the giveaway work? Well, I'll tell you. To enter today's giveaway, which will be announced and drawn at the end of the episode, you need only type into the chat !giveaway. GIVEAWAY with an exclamation point at the beginning, and then that's all you need to do. You only need to do it once, and then you will automatically be entered for the prize. Now, what is the prize? Well, it's episode 90, so usually we do something special on these multiple 10 episodes, and today is no different. We are going to be giving away 9 monsters instead of giving them to 9 different people, though we're going to be giving 9 monsters to one lucky individual at the end of the episode. So make sure that you put exclamation point giveaway in the chat, and we'll get to that later. The other exciting thing is that at the end of today's episode, in lieu of a composer piece or a submission from the community, we've got a special behind-the-scenes presentation that we want to show you, themed around the reason for the season, the raisin for the occasion. Maybe I coined something new there. The raisin.
Beautiful.
It doesn't even rhyme. Yes, so stay tuned for that special presentation at the end. And of course, today, Wednesday, July 29th, I don't think it was a Wednesday originally, but all the way back in 2013, Monster Handler Eric, if you could pull up the On This Day graphic. All the way back in 2013, the very first legendary monster made its debut on Plant Island that we are, of course, referring to the beloved fan favorite Sugarbush on Plant Island, debuting the legendary class at the same time. Let's not forget as well that it's also the Wublin Dermot's birthday all the way back in 2016, and also almost Fleechworm's birthday in 2017. Almost. I wanted to include it just because, you know, when there's 2 Wublin birthdays, you got to make sure that, you know, you give equal attention. But today we are focusing wholeheartedly on our friend, the Sugarbush. And that takes me to today's sales, which went live a little over an hour ago. And that is, of course, the Sugar Fest, which is a week-long event in which you can get 70% off Sugarbush and a different member of the Sugar Fam each day. It's its 7th birthday, and so it's 70% off. Very exciting. Also, as part of Sugar Fest, you can get a different rare monster available to buy or breed each day. So every day for this week-long Sugar Fest event, you can get a discounted member of the Sugar Fam and a different rare monster available to buy or breed. Now, what is the significance of this particular group of rare monsters? Well, I'm sure Tweedle-eyed or perhaps Glowl-eyed members of our community would notice that these are, of course, the rares of Sugarbush Island. But they are available on all islands where those rares appear. So very exciting. In addition, you can get 60% off featured currency packs. That's the Treasure Chest, the Drum of Dough, and the Wagon of Chow. Excellent currency packs, steeply discounted, monster-sized discounts, and with the discounted prices of the Sugar Fam on Sugarbush Island, that treasure chest is the perfect amount of diamonds to pick one up, whichever it may be. Let your heart decide. And of course, we are in the waning days of July, so that of course means that Immortal Jolt, the constellation in the heavens above, is about to pass into a different part of the sky, and a new constellation will take its place on Saturday. But it is also the last call for our Lucky Star promotion and 20% off Galvana on Celestial Island. Looking over at Dawn of Fire, of course, it is also the end of July in Dawn of Fire, and so it is the last call for Galvana on Starhenge in that game as well. So that's all of what's going on. That's of course putting My Singing Monsters live on a Wednesday. You know, there might still be stuff coming up on Friday that you'll have to check out. Perhaps some other special offers and promotions that you'll need to check out. But for the time being, let's be content and let's celebrate Sugarfest. I'm sure some people have commented on it already, but I wanted to show off just like my own.
Oh, look at
avatar
that.
hat. I'm sporting my own birthday hat in celebration of Sugarbush's 7th birthday.
Very
so,
nice.
Monster Handler Eric, would you please join me in our next segment of the program, in which we are going to be answering some quick questions. Now, these are questions submitted by the community for me, Monster Handler Matt, to answer, and they use the hashtag #MyStreamingMonsters to let us know that they'd like it answered here on the show. So, Monster Handler Eric, are you prepared, ready, and willing to ask me some quick questions today?
Oh, I sure am, Monster Handler Matt. You ready to jump right in?
I am ready.
All right. This one comes from Shammy Show, and they ask, how do legendary monsters come to exist in the monster world? Is there a resemblance to real people? Just a coincidence?
Shammy Show, a very interesting question. As we just talked about, legendary monsters sort of debuted. The idea of them debuted with the Sugarbush all the way back in 2013, but the tradition was later carried on by, of course, the Wordos. How legendary monsters come to be? Well, specifically, it's the intersection of the monster and the human worlds. Over the course of the various dimensions of the Big Blue Bubble multiverse, of which, of course, the human world is one of those dimensions, there have been several different points where if you imagine the different dimensions of the multiverse as sort of lanes in a highway, sometimes you've got cars merging across different lanes, and there's different intersections happening, and that's exactly what happened with Sugarbush. Where the two universes sort of brushed against each other and made the creation of the Sugarbush possible. The Sugarbush, of course, is the spirit of collaboration and harmony and uniting musical interests together. And of course, from a behind-the-scenes perspective, it was a very awesome, serendipitous encounter, an online encounter between Christian Bush of Sugarland, of course, the star of Sugarbush, and our composer, Monster Handler Dave. So very cool how it all came about.
Awesome. This next question comes from Acalian5, and they want to know, how were the accompanying monsters, specifically natural monsters, chosen for Sugarbush Island? Were any of Christian's favorite monsters chosen? That's an interesting question.
It's funny you should ask, Acalian5. This may or may not have something to do with the special presentation at the end of today's episode. But how those natural monsters were chosen, the final roster of monsters that were carefully selected to be teleportable to Sugarbush Island, was really a back-and-forth collaboration between Christian and the Big Blue Bubble team, trying to find which monsters would complement the monsterfied version of Love or Money the best. And we also wanted to sort of pluck monsters that were on multiple islands and that also weren't solely on Plant Island, but sort of plucked from across different islands of the monster world. So, of course, you have monsters like Quibble and Deej and Pom Pom that appear first on Cold and Air Islands, respectively. So wanted a little bit more diversity there in the final lineup.
Awesome. Starburst Clown wants to know, does Sugarbush ever listen to Love or Money when it's relaxing. And then they've included a little emoji here, so I'm going to do it right now on my face. Did you see? Did you see?
Yes, the resemblance is uncanny, Monster Handler or Human Expert Eric or whatever your avatar is happening there. Yes, I did notice that emoji personified come to life. Of course, Sugar Bush listens to Love or Money. I don't think it really has a preference between the Human World version or the Monstrous version, where of course the vocals are supplied by Sugar Vox, not by Sugar Bush. But of course, it listens to all manner of Christian Bush tracks, not just its Sugarland offerings, but of course Christian Bush's solo career. I can think of Trailer Hitch. I can think of all sorts of different, Southern Gravity, I think was the original EP put out by Christian around the time that Sugar Bush came out. So Sugar Bush's musical stylings, although not limited, of course, to the music of Christian Bush, that's secretly its favorite.
Ooh, very nice. Furcorn 2004 very excitedly asks, what did you guys do when Christian got to Big Blue Bubble? Was it like Diane's trip?
Furcorn 2004, you might be surprised to learn that Christian Bush has actually never come to the Big Blue Bubble office. What's sort of neat, I know it's an interesting surprise. It's an interesting surprise, but even all the way back in 2013, the internet was a thing, but all the way back in 2013, we were already starting to explore the possibilities of remote work. And of course, with what's going on in the world right now, remote work is a nice thing. It allows us to continue to do our jobs. But of course, the other cool thing about it is that back in the day, for something like music specifically, most of the time you'd need everybody together in the same room listening to stuff. But with the advent of the internet, you can now collaborate across great distances. You can send each other files. You can say, listen to this, what do you think? And you can collaborate from across a great distance. So I'm excited to confirm that even all the way back in 2013, the entire development of Sugar Bush and later of Sugar Bush Island was all done remotely from our Big Blue Bubble office in London and down in the United States where Christian lives. So that's sort of neat.
Very cool. Rex the Weeb wants to know, is Wither wearing a dress or is it a part of its body?
Wither is wearing what we internally, as Monster Hunters, like to call a sprite sheet. And that's a bit of a wink and a nod to, of course, how the monsters are built. From very good. It just looked like you blinked. But it's sort of a wink and a nod to the name of what we put all the different pieces of the monster on that we use for animation when we're creating the monsters' idle animations and their singing animations and stuff like that. But of course, since Wither is also sort of a sprightly being, very, very imperial, very near ethereal, we thought that would be a good way to describe its body. And it does sort of look like it's a dress, but it is actually part of the monster's body, but we like to call it a sprite sheet.
Very good. You know I love those puns. So this next name could be read a couple different ways. I'm going to take a stab at it, but it's as good a time as any to remember the people watching at home that if we do read your name wrong, please correct us so that we can get it right the next time. I'm going to guess it's Elijah Hamilton wants to know, how did Echidna evolve from Woolabee?
Elijah, I'm glad that you asked this question because I think it's a good opportunity to sort of clear this up. The monster bio for Echidna at one point said that the monster evolved independently from Woolabee. We've since clarified it to say independently of, meaning that Echidna didn't actually evolve from Woolabee. It actually is not even distantly related to that monster, other than, of course, the fact that they are both singing monsters, but that they both sort of developed their musical stylings independently of each other, and it's only through coincidence that they sort of look like each other. So it's independently of and independently from. So yes, these two monsters, while of course sharing a very close musical bond with each other, and that there are tiny little bird-like creatures plucking and striking at elements of the monster's anatomy on top of their head. In, of course, Willoughby's case, it's horns, and in Echidna's case, of course, it's the spines on its back. These monsters are actually not as closely related as members of the community previously thought. They are independently evolved. Surprised?
As you can tell. Nathan 89141478 wants to know who is the biggest and who is the smallest magical monster.
The biggest magical monster, the biggest that I have personally witnessed, is Gloptic.
Ooh.
Typically, monsters tend to be larger the greater number of elements that they have, although monsters, of course, like Whimsies and Platy sort of break up that rule. There are exceptions to the rule on Fairy Island because Whimsies actually are quite a bit bigger than Platy, which is the quad of Fairy Island. But Gloptic is the largest magical monster that has been discovered to date. How do I know this? Because, of course, my own run-ins with its gloptical illusions, and I don't think that there was any sort of illusions happening that allowed me to perceive it as larger than it was, but who knows, maybe that's what was going on. And then the smallest magical monster is the Clavinat. Because, of course, it is just sort of tiny and bug-like, existing in harmony with, in a symbiotic relationship with, the Clavy Creeper, of course. So those are the biggest and smallest, respectively.
Now we know. And here's a big question coming up from Isaiah Ratliff, and they ask, do birds on Octopus ever leave Sugarbush Island?
No, they do not. The birds, the critters that nest in Octopus's head on Sugarbush Island do not have the means to open up any sort of teleportational portal and return to Plant Island from whence they came. Fortunately, the ecosystem of Sugarbush Island is perfectly suited to support bird life, as of course its own native critter, sort of a hummingbird-like critter, is already very comfortable on Sugarbush Island, and so those two species of critter get along quite famously, I'm happy to report.
Isn't that nice? Very typical of Monster World, too.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of getting along nicely, that's the end of our regular questions, which means now it's time for the Stump of the Week.
No, all right, okay, I'm prepared. The Stump of the Week happens when a member of the community has the answer to a question, and rather than me providing that answer for the very first time, they are attempting to stump me with a difficult question that I will try and divine the correct answer of. Who is today's Stump of the Week by, Monster Handler Eric?
Well, this one comes from Akalian 5, and it looks quite tough. Quite tough, I must say.
All right, well, I'm prepared. I've got two hats on today.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
They help. I've got my thinking cap, my Monster Handler helm, and of course my Sugarbush birthday hat. So we'll see.
It kind of just looks like an extension.
I'm gonna slink down to try and get the full effect.
Okay, here we go. From Akalian 5, how many wires are there on Sugarbush Island, not counting monsters or obstacles?
Okay, phew.
Yes.
All right, well, that's good, because I was thinking like Sugar Buzz, I think, has some wires on its unusual guitar, and of course there might be some cables running out of the amp.
Just the island
obstacles.
Proper. For how many
the
wires?
Island proper. Well, I know at least that there are two wires coming from the headphones that the Sugarbush Colossal is are wearing in its ears. So that's 1 and 2. And then I know that there are a series of other wires that I believe are black and red, and I don't remember how many they are. So let's say that there's 2 headphones. I'm going to say, for argument's sake, that there are 3 black wires and 4 red wires, so that's 8 plus 6, 14. I'm going to say 18 wires in total.
Stumped.
No!
Oh, I hope my face didn't give it away, because you were really working through it. You were close. The answer was 16. Akalian 5 was also helpful enough to actually give us a breakdown. There are apparently 4 black wires on each side, which you said 3, so you were close. And there are 3 red on each side, which you said 4, so you were also very close. You just had them reversed. And then 1 earbud wire on each side. So you had all the individual pieces fairly close, just didn't quite add up to a winner Gagnon this time. But there's always next week.
Does that mean that my addition was also incorrect? That I said 18?
No comment.
Because I feel like so doubly stumped. You know what? It's okay. I'll review my numbers later. Perhaps when I watch back this episode 90 of My Sing Monsters Live. But you know what always cheers me up, regardless of how Stump of the Week goes, is now we have an opportunity to look at some glorious artwork submitted by our community in a segment that we like to call Monsterpieces. Now, these Monsterpieces can be submitted the exact same way the quick questions can, which is, of course, using the hashtag MyStreamingMonsters. It's been up at the bottom of the screen the whole episode. It'll probably be up before the end of the episode as well. But let's take a look at some of these awesome Monsterpieces. What's our first Monsterpiece for today, Eric?
Oh, we've got this beautiful Sugar Fam portrait, maybe even a Sugar Farm portrait, from Adam O. Schiller.
Oh, Adam O. Schiller. Yes, perhaps sort of an alternate name for Sugarbush Island, the Sugar Farm.
I love it.
Where the Sugar Fam can live. Certainly there's sort of a rural, down south country vibe to many of the members of the Sugar Fam. You know, they're wearing some nice cowboy hats.
Absolutely.
Which I think, of course, inspired by the own, dare I say it, devilish stylings of Christian Bush himself, a very well-dressed man. Mm-hmm. And this particular Monsterpiece is no different. Look at all of those glorious members of the Sugar Fam rendered in beautiful. It looks like that's marker. Looks like that's marker to me. I love all the different hats of the Sugar Fam there on the Sugar Farm caption. Well done, Adam O. Schiller.
This next one comes to us from Bubbleverse.
Bubbleverse. Here we have a very relaxed-looking Sugarbush playing its beloved mandolin on a stump. Now, if only that was the stump of the week, rather than my own inability to do basic addition. But you know what? This cheers me up wonderfully. Love the shading on this. Look at the expression on Sugarbush's face. Great attention to detail with the wood grain of its limbs. Beautifully well done, Bubbleverse. Love it.
Now, I know what you were thinking, Monster Handler Matt. What if this same Sugarbush was rocking out with some awesome shades, and fortunately, FUNGORIGINAL has provided?
FUNGORIGINAL, this is an awesome Monsterpiece. I wonder if that's the castle in the background that we can see, but it doesn't really matter. I see the My Singing Monsters emblem there that you see on many tiers of the castle, and you can see again awesome attention to detail here. Look at all of those stitches on the fedora there on atop the Sugarbush's head, and excellent shades. Love the wavy lines indicating the shine in them. Yes, this is a very relaxed Sugarbush here by FUNGORIGINAL. Love it.
Very
excellently
cool. Are you ready for another Sugarbush portrait, Monster Handler Matt?
I am.
Well, you got by Epic Hula.
Rat. But you know what? I feel great about being got because this Epic Hula Monsterpiece by Ibaz is full, chock full of personality. Mm-hmm. Love the sort of reimagining of the proportions of this monster, to have the big smile and the huge sort of pompadour hair there. And its glowing hoop, of course. Love it. I hope people have been keeping a close eye for Epic Hula's secret shows, which are, of course, ongoing throughout Summer Song. And I'm sure that this weekend will be no different. So I would keep a close ear to the ground and an eye to the skies for a reappearance of Epic Hula coming soon, I'd say. Check this weekend. That's a word to the wise. Next up, from Roman Tokarenko. I got there eventually. Yeah. Here we have a rare Thrumble. Now, is this rare Thrumble about to devour some sort of catfish creature? I present an alternative theory that perhaps they're just conversing. This is sort of an Aquaman sort of moment where a rare Thrumble, being a creature of the living ocean, is just sort of saying, hey, hello, how's it going there, catfish? Maybe it's a gassed fish rather than a catfish.
That'd be very good.
Love it. Look at we've gotten, I believe, several masterpieces in. Love this art style from this
Yes.
particular artist. Well
Beautiful.
done. Next, and here we've got from Scrumpf, we've got Rare Thrumble observing, a perfectly timed inclusion of Dermot on the occasion of its birthday today. Yes, there's Dermot holding what looks like a hula. I love Scrumpf's playing with scale here. Rare Thrumble is absolutely ginormous. Perhaps it's been bigified. We've got Dermot there. And Hula seems quite small, so love it. Sort of a Leviathan-sized Rare Thrumble gazing down at these different monsters. I like this Monsterpiece as well because it depicts different monsters of different classes all getting along and doing all sorts of different stuff. Love that.
And we have today's Memsterpiece from Ruben V.
Finally, the Memsterpiece. Ruben has it here. We've got the boys' locker room contrasted with, of course, the hut of 1,000 perfumes. And there's sort of a cultured look there on Pooh Bear's face.
Yes, indeed.
Because the hut of 1,000 perfumes, obviously far superior in scent and overall funk than a boys' locker room.
And style, I must say.
And style, absolutely. And of course, the Hut of 1,000 Perfumes decoration continues to be available over the course of Summer Song. So if you haven't got this very awesome animated Summer Song themed decoration, what are you doing? What are you waiting for?
This
Go get one.
distinguished decoration.
Very distinguished. Okay, well there we go. We've got just about everything that we needed to do for today's episode.
Almost.
But we can't forget. We got two more exciting things to talk about today. Now, the first of those, of course, is the giveaway. Now, we promised that we were going to be giving away 9 monsters to one lucky individual. Well, I'm happy to report that I can reveal first the identity of the prize.
Ooh.
The prize is the winner of today's giveaway is going to be receiving a full set of the Sugar Fam
Wow.
on Sugar Bush Island. That's all 8 legendary monsters and a Sugar Bush Island rare of their choice. It's all themed around the Sugar Fest, you
Yes,
see.
indeed.
And so it'll be the user's choice about which Sugar Bush Island rare they'd like to receive. But we do have the winner for today. Monster Handler Sydney was so kind as to put it here on our cheat sheet, on our behind-the-scenes document here. And the winner of today's giveaway, Monster Handler Eric, could I please get a drum roll? The winner of episode 90 of My Singing Monsters Live giveaway is Canal de Gacha Life de Historiñas.
Congratulations.
I said that correctly. Canal de Gacha Life de Historiñas.
Did you see me
hopefully
clapping?
You know who you are. If I butchered that, I hope I did an okay job of it. But please send us your BBB ID /friend code in the chat, Canal de Gacha Life de Historiñas, and then we will be able to deliver you your entire set of Sugar Fam. That's, can I do it, Eric? Sugar Bush, Sugar Bass, Sugar Guitar, Sugar Joe, Sugar Rock, Sugar Buzz, Sugar Beats, and Sugar Vox. Boom! Got them all. And Sugar Bush, I hope I mentioned Sugar Bush.
Winner game,
and the rare on Sugar Bush Island of your choice. So please send us your BBB ID /friend code. Okay, I know a lot of people have been saying, well, why did we do this on a Wednesday? And of course, we wanted to celebrate Sugar Bush's birthday because, and this is mostly Monster Handler Matt's fault, totally forgot about it in the excitement of last year's Summer Song. You know, at that time we were debuting Island Skins and the Vegetable Medley featuring the Harvard Titan was coming out, so we were distracted. We had lots of other things to think about. Not to say, of course, that we don't have other things to think about this year. I know a lot of people have been wondering when information about the silhouette on the horizon is going to be coming. It is the Monster Handler's hope that information will start to trickle out towards the end of Summer Song, and then at that point we can really start to dive in. But we don't want to take away from Sugar Fest. We don't want to take away from Summer Song, so we're going to continue to groove during this summer seasonal event. But don't worry, more information is on its way. Yeah, I love your moves. You know what? These moves might be. Have you been practicing? They look great. They look even better than your typical moves. Eric.
Oh, thank you.
They look great. So that's the first thing that I wanted to mention. Of course, I'll mention it again that you should be checking this weekend because there are more sales coming in My Singing Monsters and in Dawn of Fire. There is, of course, the tip over of a new month on Saturday. So for those of you who have been around the block a few times, you know that means new celestial offerings in both My Singing Monsters and Dawn of Fire. So keep an eye out for those. And finally, here it comes. So I got to do a little bit of a preamble here.
Okay.
So this special presentation is something that I dug up from the archives on the occasion of Sugar Bush's birthday because I thought it was very neat. So all the way back in 2013, when Sugar Bush Island was being worked on by the team in September of 2013, which was our very first anniversary month, if you will, when Ethereal Island was released. So we already had lots of things going on. Brandon Bush, who is Christian Bush's brother and who is a very accomplished musician and producer in his own right, sent us a very cool idea, which was titled Love of Monsters. And what Brandon had done is that he had taken samples of different monsters on Plant Island and used them to perform Christian Bush's new song, Love or Money. And then that got the My Singing Monsters team thinking, well, what if not the buck, but the bush doesn't stop with Sugar Bush? Why don't we develop Sugar Bush Island? And so these were the first kernels of Sugar Bush Island being developed, was this particular mix that was sent to us by Brandon. You may notice, and this connects to one of the questions earlier, that all of these monsters that are performing these parts is not the final lineup of monsters that appear on Sugar Bush Island. This is a different group of monsters. So this is sort of the what might have been. This is sort of an alternate timeline version of Sugar Bush Island where different natural monsters teleported, and these monsters are plucked entirely from the Plant Island population. So we've got a special presentation that for the very first time we are publishing for you to hear and witness and be blown away by this awesome Love of Monsters mix by Brandon Bush. So in the graphic that accompanies it, I've done my best to put which monsters I think were sourced for this particular creative recording, including one that you can sort of hear faintly in the background. And this, of course, was inspired by the fact that Christian's family played My Singing Monsters, and I think that that Plant Island was their favorite. So that's why this all came together. So that's how we're going to end this special episode 90 of My Singing Monsters Live with the debut of this never-before-heard track. So it's going to play through twice, I believe. So listen to it. It's very interesting. You might recognize some monsters are there from Sugar Bush Island, and then others are different, but have a listen to it, and I hope that you enjoyed this special behind-the-scenes look. Monster Handler Eric, thank you so much for being my co-host and for doing such a great job of mecking the show, this episode 90 of My Singing Monsters Live. A pleasure as always.
I couldn't miss Sugar Bush's birthday. Not again.
Know, especially since I forgot all about it last year. We will be back to our regularly scheduled time for episode 91 next Friday, August 7th, for My Singing Monsters Live. So we'll see you at that point. We'll be parted for longer than we usually are, but you know what? Keep an eye on stuff because I know you'll do a great job. Please enjoy Love of Monsters by Brandon Bush, and until next time,
Happy monstering!